Jesus. You hear what I'm saying?
Nope, you're live though. Oh, so what's up?
All right, okay, okay, okay.
What's up? Stream
You're
yard.
live. Mhm. All right.
Stream yard is not funny. Yeah. Okay.
So, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to
That's
today's live stream. Um, our topic today is AI vibe coding versus traditional software development and the impact of application security. AI is changing how we build software, but does faster development introduce new security risks? We'll explore the benefits, challenges, and security implication of AI assisted coding. I am Vivian, your moderator. I am pleased to have our speakers here with us today, Mr. Emmanuel and Mr. Collins. So
hi,
let's get
hi Vivian.
started. Yeah, hi, Emmanuel.
Yeah, how you doing? How you doing?
I'm fine. And
Yeah,
you?
thank you. I'm okay. I'm okay. Thank you for having me on this podcast live stream session. Yeah, so I
Okay.
think we are waiting for um, Collins, our second guest,
Okay.
right? Yes. Okay, so while we wait for while we wait for him, um, I just maybe for those that are watching, I'll just quickly share my experience when you told me to talk about this topic or sort of share insight on this topic. It was quite exciting because it's something I've had in mind for quite some time. The concept of AI vibe coding. I think I heard that concept. When was that? I think earlier this year, and I was wondering. I mean, what is vibe coding? What makes it different from um, the traditional software development and all of that. And then eventually, somehow, after getting to understand the full concept of AI vibe coding, which I know some people might not know. Hopefully, we can introduce what that is to them today. But yeah, I found myself doing it. And I had maybe I had one or two traditional software developers that didn't agree with some of the things um, that relates to AI vibe coding, but regardless, we still made it work. So I'm sure we would be able to share more insight on that while introducing the whole concept. But for me, as a security person, I'm more about the risks, the vulnerabilities that exist in AI vibe coding. So when I see some of these things, I immediately start looking at what security risks exist. Yes, I think Collins has joined
Yeah,
us. Hi,
yes.
Collins. Can you hear us? Welcome. Thank
Please
Hi,
you
Colin.
confirm
for.
if you can hear
Yeah,
me.
I can hear you clearly. Yes, clearly. Thank you for joining. Yeah, so we're just chatting before you joined. We're trying to introduce the topic AI vibe coding, and I was telling viewers that before earlier this year, I never really knew what vibe coding was as a concept. I knew there was AI, but and I knew there was coding, but when I saw vibe coding, I was like, what is this all about? When I started watching videos about the
Sorry, I
concept
can't
of
hear
vibe,
you.
oh, um, can you hear me? Vivian, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and
Hello?
clear.
Oh, okay.
Collins, can you hear
Collins,
me?
we can hear you. We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Collins, can you hear
Yeah, I
us?
can hear you now.
Okay.
Okay. Perhaps it's network. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, basically, I think yeah, we can get right into it.
Yeah,
So
yes, yes. So let's get
Hello?
started. So to begin with, what exactly AI vibe coding and how
Trying
it's
to,
can you hear me, Collins?
I
Can you
can
hear me?
barely hear you. I think the network here is bad.
Yeah,
I can
could
hear
be
you
the
now.
network.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you
So
hear me
to
now?
begin, yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
So to begin, what exactly is AI vibe coding and how does it differ from traditional software development? Emmanuel, let's start with you.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can take that. Yeah, I can take that. So with the concept of I was explaining to the viewers before we joined that the concept of vibe coding was, or where I first heard the concept of vibe coding, I was surprised because it seemed interesting. So AI vibe coding is the utilization of AI to code and develop software, either web applications or mobile applications. So AI is the one writing the codes and all of that. So I'm sure based on the words you have an idea what the concept is. Then the traditional software development is more like someone coding from the scratch, excuse me, doing everything they need to do, writing all the codes, front end, back end, and all of that. But with the AI vibe coding, you don't need to go through the stress of coding the back end from the beginning, then doing the front end, even getting a UI UX. It sort of eliminates all the extra personnel that would ordinarily create or develop a software. So the traditional one is done by like a human being manually from the beginning to the end, where the codes are written, while the AI vibe coding is just write AI writing the codes for you based on the prompts you give it. So, Collins, what do
Okay.
you? I mean, what can you share some insights on these concepts?
Okay. You said well. You have clearly define it for a non-technical person. So to add to what you said,
I think it's network. I can't hear you, Collins. You seem to be frozen. I think the network is not favorable today. Hi, Vivian.
AI vibe coding is actually a new way of developing software. It's the opposite of that of AI vibe coding. It is slower on purpose. You have to plan the architect first, and you write the code and then carefully review it before it ever gets to close to production. So, but for my own opinion, for my answer, as in, I think neither approach is automatically secure. Both has gotten application hacked, and traditional development has been shipping vulnerable code long since before AI existed. We just call it what's it called? We call it human error instead of
Mm,
hallucination. So it's the real question isn't is AI code dangerous? The real question is where does each approach tends to introduce risk, and where does each one make security better? So
mm.
over to you, Emmanuel.
Yeah, thank you. I think that makes a lot of sense because personally, I think I would share my experience with this, and maybe we can just pick it up. We can take it up from there. So, I have so far since I got to understand the concept of AI vibe coding, I have started utilizing AI for vibe coding, where I have AI to I have AI create a software or concept, like bring out the ideas I have in my head, because it's been a long time where I know most people have an idea where I want to build this application. I want to either a web application or a mobile application, but you're sort of restricted to um, having to learn coding or a programming language or two, and then having to get resources to put those things together. But right now, all you need to do is have that idea, have some understanding of prompting, and then you just put your prompts, write your prompts, and then the AI would just give you the application. I've seen most people do that, and then most people have even put such applications on Play Store, apps, Apple Store, and maybe they're even making money with such applications. But then again, as a security professional, it begs the question: what risks exist in such a strategy of app development? Because normally, I know that even with the traditional software development, there are lots of flaws and vulnerabilities that exist. And so the question is, would AI be smart enough to um, code or write these softwares without these vulnerabilities or without risks in it? So this made me to do like a whole research on the um, on the vulnerabilities and the risks and the impacts that this could have on application security, which was why I was really excited when this topic um, came to light, or when I was told to talk about this topic. So I would say, from my experience so far, like I said, I've tried working on two applications using the concept of AI vibe coding, and I discovered the risks there because I'm someone that has experience in application security to some extent, even though it's not my main field. But yeah, I have an experience with even secure software development. So, Collins, what can you say in terms of secure development? Um, how do you think it shapes both concepts, the AI vibe coding and the traditional software? Do you think one one of them would use the secure development? Do you think one of them will consider it, or which one do you think would consider it more, the AI part or the someone who is traditionally developing softwares?
Um, Thanks for this question. I think it's very important that we know that both can be used because both are good. Um, AI is brilliant and fast, while traditional development is very strict, which means everything have to go through a careful process and a proper review before your code is being shipped. So, but both have gotten Applications Act, like I said in the first place. They have gotten
Yeah.
Applications Act. So both of them has their own risk. And I would like to talk about some of their risk. Like
Okay.
so let me start with AI assistants. AI assistant, the risks that tends to introduce. So first, I will start with what I always tell people that AI generated code is not dangerous. It's not dangerous by itself. What's dangerous is when developer accept code without a proper review or understanding of what it does. And I've seen this happen where application works perfectly fine, but it quietly skip things like input validation or using database query the proper way. So sometimes this open doors to attacks like SQL injection. So secondly, I would like to talk about the one that people don't often talk about, which is AI can actually create make-up packages name, and that doesn't even exist at all. So here's the scary part about this risk. Attackers have now started registering these fake packages name on platforms like npm. So when AI generates code, the developer does the AI code without a proper review and then run the command or like npm command. So this command now pull the malicious code into straight into the developer's project, and that's a big threat. And this kind of risk doesn't exist before AI coding became common. And the third one I would like to talk about is more psychological than technical. It's about this
Okay.
this sense of this false sense of achievement that developers get when their code compiles successfully and work properly. So they get this false sense of feeling like, okay, we are done when the code is working, but not knowing
Yeah.
that working and secure working and secure software are completely different thing.
Yeah.
Because let me give you a real fact. AI is optimized to satisfy your prompt, not to defend your system against
We've lost you there. Um, Hello?
someone trying to break into it. So it's just like and then they quickly tell AI how to handle configuration. It's sometimes just hard code placeholder keys into your file. And if a developer isn't careful, these placeholder keys it gets its way into production, which is
Yeah.
a very bad thing. It can lead to all forms of attack depending on what that key is used for. So now I don't want to sound like I'm against AI coding. No, I'm not against AI coding because
Yeah.
when AI prompt and when AI is used correctly, it improves security instead of threatening security. It's if you if you prompt AI, if you prompt AI very well, like you tell the AI to validate every input or use
Yeah.
parameterized queries everywhere, the AI will apply it. It will apply the pattern consistently across your whole code base, more consistently than a developer working late at night under deadline pressure. So AI,
100%.
AI, and when AI is used to handle repetitive tasks, it gives the developer more time to focus more on actual things that require um, require real judgment, like things like reviewing the code and thinking through of how the system could be hacked. So, and AI is also generally good. It's also generally good at edge cases for testing, wired input, broken data, and things that a developer might forget to test when
Yeah.
developing a software. So when AI is used properly, it strengthens security instead of threatening
Yeah.
security. So with that said about I don't want it to sound like traditional development is a flawless security fortress because it isn't. Because it is
Yeah.
slow doesn't mean it is safe. Because it is slow
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean it is safe. Like most of the biggest branches in history
Yeah.
are from traditional development. I hope you know
Yeah.
that
Mm-hmm.
before AI showed up, traditional development has been shipping vulnerable code long since. So
Yeah.
the thing is that when using traditional development, developers get tired. They cut corner under deadline pressure. They copy paste from what's it called from developers community like Stack Overflow without even reviewing the code properly. And
Yeah.
the what's this called? Before even AI showed up, as in we developer we do this, and then it was called technical debt, but now we are calling it for AI. Now we are calling it hallucination. So
Yeah.
a lot of all these threats like outdated dependency, nobody updated, or what's it called, or login form, nobody stress test, and so on. So many of these
Yeah.
things comes from traditional development before AI came. And traditional development is also inconsistent in nature. Imagine having two developers in the same team working
Mm,
on the same project
yeah.
and writing different code, completely different code for a particular problem, or writing different solution for a particular problem. So unlike AI, human don't apply the same pattern on the same as in on the same problem twice,
Cool.
especially
Yeah.
when they are on under pressure. And the traditional development, if review is not done properly, vulnerable code makes it to production, which is a very, very bad thing. I'll continue to say that a very bad thing where attackers can make their way into your software. So because of from all these flaws I've mentioned, you know that traditional development isn't fully secure and AI too
Yeah.
isn't fully secure. So when it
Yeah.
comes to security, it's
Mhm.
not about who or what writes the code. It's about checking the code properly before it ever gets to production.
Live. Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's really, you really said a lot of, like, a lot of interesting things. But what caught my attention the most was when you talked about being able to prompt the AI to do some of these security checks. For example, people that don't really understand secure software development would not even think about saying or trying to look at the security part of the applications that are building, which is something that I have seen people do. I remember when I was building one of those software when I was vibe coding, because I have security in mind and I know that vulnerabilities exist, and if you're putting out any products there and you've not done any sort of security validations, then it's going to be a problem. Either the application gets hacked or you start seeing things that you don't want to see, like race conditions, which is what we've seen most of these web apps and applications that have been that are built without having security in mind. So I think it's important that even when you want to, I always tell people, if you want to vibe code, that's beautiful. If you don't have, but you need to understand security. Security first is what they always say. Security first. You need to start with security while you want to code. You don't. It shouldn't be at the back burner. It shouldn't be the last thing you think about. So when you want, and again, like you said rightly, AI does a good job at doing everything the way it should be, even better than humans, because humans always, we are humans, so sometimes you could miss one or two things, but AI is always like going straight to implement what it knows based on, it's like reading an entire textbook and it's just applying every single thing. It's not going to miss one thing. So when you code, or when I was coding, what I did was, I would say, based on, like, when starting, which is what I recommend for those that are vibe coding, it's, you can say, based on, or while developing this app, after giving it your prompts, you're telling it kindly, or not kindly, please use or ensure throughout this code, throughout this development life cycle, that you utilize secure software practices, look into OWASP, OWASP top 10 for both web and mobile. So when you've done that, because it has those libraries, it has that vast information. It knows what the OWASP top 10 is. It knows everything, the broken authentication, the IDOR. It knows everything. So what it does is that while writing the code, is now checking all of those things to make sure that no vulnerability exists based on those things you've talked about. So, and what you should now do as someone that is vibe coding is that after you've gotten to some point, you just reconfirm that this is actual, that it is actually implementing those security, those security those is that is actually implementing those security. So you can ask it, so far, can you, are there any vulnerabilities in that exist in this code? Can you check for things like race conditions, broken authentication, SQL injection vulnerabilities, XXX, CSRF, all those vulnerabilities, and it's going to rescan the code and let you know if there's any vulnerability that exists. But now I think the problem is, and which is the problem I've seen people face. So you can do this as someone who already has an understanding of, oh, you need to put security first. But what if it now tells you that I've done these checks and we maybe I didn't find any vulnerability because I made sure that there was no vulnerability from the beginning of the code. Or at some point, it might now recommend and say, I found this vulnerability. I want to fix it this way. Should I go ahead? That recommendation might not be the best recommendation. And if you tell it to go ahead, it's going to go ahead, it's going to implement what it recommends. It might not be the best based on, again, humans think more, should I say, logically. AI just does what it thinks is best. So if a something that's supposed to fix a vulnerability is just about allowing all traffic, it's going to say, let's allow all traffic, or let's permit this, let's permit everything for this to work. And you say, okay, go ahead and permit everything. But you not know, understanding the security, you not understanding all these concepts of SQL injection and all of those things, you might want to allow it, you might want to give it the will to go ahead and implement what it thinks is best. And it's not always the best, it's not always the best, because in the end you still see that vulnerabilities are introduced in your code, which is, I mean, it's crazy. I've seen these things, I've experienced it as someone has been who has been vibe coding for quite some time now. And what do you think about the problem of API security? And because I know with most of these, even with traditional softwares and AI vibe coding, there's some API integrations that are being done. So what do you think? What vulnerabilities could possibly exist with that?
Hello, are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I didn't get to hear the last thing you said
Okay.
because of
Y-
your network went
Yeah.
off.
Uh, Oh, okay. So I'll repeat that. So I said, um, based on the API security. So we've heard of API security, and we know that in most applications that people are doing these days, there has to be some form of API integration, either you integrating with a weather API or Google APIs, which is like the most common integrations. But the other API, maybe financial APIs, Paystack, whatever API you want to integrate. How do you think one could implement API security in all of this, either when vibe coding or doing the traditional development?
So that's a very good question because of like I said before, sometimes when vibe coding, AI can write the can write the secrets into your file as a placeholder key, and which is if you don't properly review that code, you might just ship both the both your security key and all the code. So to avoid this, developers, when vibe coding, developers need to properly review the code before shipping. And if you are afraid of AI seeing your private, your secret key,
Yeah,
like some platforms, they often give this they often give these test keys for software
yeah,
development. Like many platforms, in fact, many platforms that provide APIs, they do give this test key for development. Why, when you are going for production, you take the actual key. So it's better to use that. It's better to use that development key when you are vibe coding. It's better to use it, and you move all your keys to, even if you're vibe coding, it doesn't mean that you have to hard code all the secret keys, all the API secret keys into your
yeah,
file. What you have to do, you have to not even use constants for the secret key. Don't use constants for the secret key. Put your secret key in your .env file, and this is for maybe this is for JavaScript developer, because I'm a JavaScript developer. I don't know about other
yeah,
languages like Python or so. But for JavaScript developer, use your .env file, make use of it, and when you are pushing your code to GitHub, put your .env file in your in what's it called, git ignore. Make sure
Yeah.
that you don't forget to add it. Normally it is add automatically. It's add
Hmm.
automatically. Once you create the file, it's added automatically into your git ignore. So make sure that the um the .env file is in the git ignore. And for, like I said again, don't use constant. Don't use
Yeah.
constant. It's,
So
you might forget about it and also push it to the production. So instead of being lazy, it's better to do things the proper way, the right way,
yeah.
because like I said, we are human. One can forget. We are not perfect. So it's better that as you are just writing the code or doing everything, you just start putting everything in place where they are supposed to be. Not saying that, okay, I will maybe later I will do this, I will do this later. Maybe when I want to ship it to production, I will do this later, I will do that later. So that you might forget and then push everything to production. So it's better
Mm.
that you start doing everything on time, doing it when you are writing the code, when you are putting everything in place.
Yeah.
So just, it's better to be cautious than to find remediation.
Yeah, I think that's really good. I think something you said really got me thinking. I think there's also a really good possibility of you changing your API keys. I think some platforms allow you to rotate the keys, like where you can, if you feel like one has been compromised, you can always just change it to a different key. Which is why you want to make sure, like you said, that you're using, at least for the development stage, using test keys and not the production keys. I know, for example, Paystack really gives such option to use test keys and some of those other platforms. So it's really important to again have an idea of what API security is. Just read about it. Again, most people, it's as simple as, if you want to vibe code or if you want to use AI for your coding, understand everything that has to do with security. And again, it's just by watching a few videos. So again, you need to know what API security is all about. Just go pick a 30 minutes video on YouTube and watch it, understand the concept, so that even when you're vibe coding, you still understand what you need to do, what risks exist in the system or in what you're doing. So I think that's really important, because I think I made such a mistake
Um,
when yeah, hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay. Um, what you just said now about going online and watching videos on security, I
Mm,
noticed that when I started web development, the only thing
yeah,
I care about is UI and making a minimal code. That's what I
yeah,
really cared about. But going on and starting to get experience, so I noticed that most of the um, tutorial lessons I have, they never taught me what's it called, security.
security, yeah,
I had to like I had to like go and try to make deeper research to learn security myself. Most people learning on their own, especially from YouTube, they they don't know about security. They just only know about,
yeah,
most of those YouTubers don't teach security. They just only show you, okay, this is how you do the app, write this code, write that, you'll get the app, and boom, everything working fine
yeah,
and running. But having your code running and having a secure code is actually is a very different thing. It's very different. So it's better that after learning how to code or after doing vibe coding, you have to like make a deeper research on how to secure your application, because AI too can build a system for you, but you the developer, you have to understand the system and the business very well, because if you understand it very well, you know how the system can be hacked. When you understand
yeah,
the code very well, you know how the system can be hacked. You think of ways people can hack the system, because you can, that that skills is a skills that human that traditional development um, still used to beat AI, because AI only
Yeah.
knows what we tell them. But having like many attacks have come up and many patches have been made. So AI only know of the one that has happened. They don't know
Yeah.
human. If one door is closed, we look for another way. So it's only a human like us that can actually find out, like think of these ways that another attack can come up. So that it's a human skill that AI cannot take. So you have to understand the system, understand it very well. You have to understand security. So
Yeah.
it's good to have a good foundation of security. It's good, very good.
That's
So I'll say
yeah, that's
after.
yeah, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought you were done there. Yeah. So I think you really said a lot of interesting things. And yeah, most times, most of those videos that you watch on maybe software development and everything, they don't really have security in mind, except you're conscious and you already know that vulnerabilities would exist in certain systems, and then you go to search for resources, videos to help you learn, and then that's the only way you can inculcate security in whatever form of coding you're doing, either traditional and or your vibe coding. I think I see quite a couple of questions on the comments, and one for from Pretty Pecky. Thank you for joining. Um, she said, with AI vibe coding making software development much faster, do you think developers are becoming too dependent on AI? I think that's an interesting question. Do you want to take that? So I would repeat it. Vivian, if you can help us put it on the screen. So I would ask the question again. She said,
Okay, let me
um,
see the
with
question.
yeah, with AI vibe coding making software development much faster, do you think developers are becoming too dependent on AI? You're a developer, so you can answer that question.
Yes, yes. Developer are becoming too dependent on AI. I am not going to lie about that. So
Hmm.
it makes work faster. That's
Yeah,
the
definitely.
good thing about it. Like I said before, even though it makes work faster, you have to go through the whole code file to file, components to components, packages to packages, go through everything to properly understand the system very well. So a lot of developer, in fact, that's the trend. A lot of developer are
Yeah,
depending on AI. We are depending on
yeah,
AI, but that doesn't
yeah,
mean that we don't review the code.
yeah,
We review the code. A good developer, not a lazy one, review the code before pushing it to production. So I would say yes, they are getting dependence on AI.
yeah. So that's I would also agree with you because I think I mean it's AI. AI makes things easier, faster. So why not utilize it? But again, like Collins rightly said, you don't just want to be. I think the key word here is too dependent. Too dependent. Yeah, you don't want to be too dependent where you just hands off and say, "Oh, write all the codes for me," and I'm not doing anything. You still want to be able to review some of those codes if you can, review some of the things it's doing, and see if it's doing everything the way it should in terms of applying security, making sure it's operational, and again making sure it's according to your taste. So you can't just hands off or just say, "Oh, AI work do this for me." So yeah, to some extent, it's just like penetration testing because there are tools out there that people would use to do perform automated scans and just scan apps and say, "Oh, I've scanned this. I've done a VAPT, but I just scanned." You can just use scanning tools to scan those URLs or those domains and all of that. It's good. It will help you find some of those things. But you see that sometimes you having the understanding of what flaws and security vulnerabilities could exist in those systems, and you having the ability to manually check those things that the scanning has discovered is still going to be like a plus. So yes, you want to be careful about being too dependent, which is the keyword there, too dependent. But yeah, definitely you have to use it because it exists. So thank you for that question. I think there is a second question from this one is from Genius Gold. They said, can AI generated code introduce vulnerabilities that a developer may not immediately notice? Collins, you want to take this one? It says, can AI generated code introduce vulnerabilities that a developer may not notice?
Yeah, I agree. Yes, like I said before, hard coding secret keys into the application. It's something I have experienced that several times. I've experienced it several times. So it's a big risk, and to a developer that doesn't have a good foundation of the software development, they don't see this, and
Yeah.
the ones that are not security conscious too, they don't see this. It's just once the code is working, yeah, they ship it to production, and boom, you have opened door for attackers to get you hacked.
Yeah, I think that also reminds me of there's a time I was doing again when I was vibe coding, I ran into certain issues because something was not just working as I wanted in the application that the AI was helping me develop. So I was asking is why am I not able to reach this other endpoint? Then it's at some point he now requested. He said, "Please, can you paste your API keys for me? Let me let's." So it wanted to do a test with the API keys to ensure that I was that it was not a problem from the connectivity or the secret key that I put in. So someone who doesn't know much about security is going to go ahead and give it the keys. I mean, just help me solve my problem. This is the key you requested. Go ahead. But what you don't know is that you've put in, and again, if you're using your live keys, you put in the API secret key there on the AI agent on the platform, and then it has record of that API key. And if you don't know that you're supposed to change those keys, maybe you could even forget, which is one risk of just leaving AI to do everything. You could forget that you've given it your key. Your key is in the public. Possibly, it can even push it to GitHub. Especially when it's a public, maybe it's a public repo or something. It pushes it to GitHub, and the API key is just somewhere in the public where anyone who can search well, or do anyone who is looking for these things can find those API keys. So you want to know that if for any reason you're giving it your API keys, it has to be something that you're changing before going live, or even maybe immediately if you can. So yeah, those are some of the risks that maybe are associated with that. Yeah, there are lots of vulnerabilities that AI itself can introduce. There's also one called insecure cause. So that one also is something that we see quite often, where I talked about it, where the AI wants to solve a problem, and instead of it solving the problem in a smarter way, it just looks for the easiest way to resolve the problem, thereby introducing lots of risks. It's like permitting all traffic, so you cannot access the internet. It's just, let's use the instance of a firewall. For some reason, you can't access the internet, and the reason for you not being able to access the internet or certain websites is because the firewall is blocking you. Is the traffic is being blocked in the firewall based on the policies and rules set. And then the AI says, "Oh, we found the reason for it, for you not being able to access this website. Do you want me to grant you access and open you up to be able to access those websites or those URLs?" You say yes, please go ahead and implement. And what it does is that it changes the rule to allow all. It allows all forms of traffic. And again, on your own, you don't know that that is a risk, because it should just allow you to access those certain URLs that you're trying to access, not put the asterisks and allow you to access and to um, not allowing all forms of traffic to the system or to the server. But again, these are the things that if you're not conscious about, AI could definitely do those things. AI can make mistakes. AI makes mistakes a lot of times. So you as a human is the person that has um, to look at these things and then with your experience help mitigate or at least reduce those risks. So I
And
hope I
I would like
answered.
to also
Yeah,
add something to it. I would like to also add one of my experience to it. Like especially this happens when you are using like a free AI tools instead of paid. So they give
hmm,
you this the lower version that should I say use outdated data. Like many times I've tried using one of this AI, and maybe when giving your prompt to build a software that we need external packages, there
yeah,
tends to there tends to use packages that are outdated in your software.
yeah,
They use
hmm,
packages that are outdated. Like some of them might even use if you are using React. Some of them might even use a React that has vulnerability. Like I've had this experience that like when I prompt AI to build a application with Next.js, the AI used Next.js 13 for me. Why the current Next.js is Next.js 16. So that is also a big risk. And I remember that I think one of those old versions of Next.js have vulnerability. So I know I when I notice it, because the first thing I do when this AI runs is give me their code. I first of all check the packages. First of all, check the packages before running an npm install, because I don't
yeah,
want to pull any malicious code into my project. So first of all, I check the packages to see if there's a there's a package I need to upgrade. Then I change it there to the version I want. And sometimes when using those old packages too, if you are trying to like update them too, you might also need to change some of the codes. You might need to
yeah,
change some of the codes because some of the codes may be outdated codes. They have a new pattern of writing it or somehow like that. So you have to change those codes too. So if you update the dependency without changing those lines of code, it also bring bugs to your application. So a developer that doesn't have a good foundation of web development just keep running into these bugs and maybe get frustrated and stop the project instead of just finding out that the the error is coming from this line or this place. So you have to prompt AI multiple times to get the
yeah.
actual where the bug is coming from. So
Mm,
that's also something to look out for.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, so I see a question from Cyber Nation 01. Welcome. So he or she said, will younger generations without traditional knowledge of software development be willing to? So I think this is a follow up to the take he said. He said, I think before this, the person, Cyber Nation said, I think the question shouldn't be developers depending more on AI. I think the question should be, will younger generations without traditional knowledge of software development be willing to? So I think if there are policies around secure software development, where before you upload any software or before you put any software to production, like before you put it on Play Store, on Apple Store, even on maybe before it goes live, you need to have done these checks. I know for maybe for organizations, they have some of these, they are required based on compliance to do all these checks and all before putting out softwares like that. So yeah, somehow compliance would always catch up on them. Like maybe in the future, and I'm seeing that right now because of vibe coding, there are lots and lots of applications that are being pushed to Play Store. After some time, I've seen some that have been removed from the Play Store because of the security vulnerabilities that have existed in the system. People complaining, especially when somehow those applications require you to put in your cards, your some form of payment integration, and then money is getting missing and all of that. So they take or remove those apps from those place from the Play Store and those other application stores. So yeah, I think in future, right now, it's not really there's really no regulation around using AI to vibe code and putting out software there. But I think very soon, there will be lots of compliance with AI that before you upload or before you make any of those software live, you need to have gone through proper testing where you've done security testing before you can upload. Yeah, so definitely they would have to, younger generations would find a way, they must, they must find a way to get that knowledge. That's what I think.
So, Emmanuel, to add to what you have said, there is also this thing that people don't talk about. So let's push AI aside.
Mm,
What about using WordPress?
mm,
People don't
mm,
actually implement security, especially people using WordPress. They don't, beside the security from the hosts, people
yeah,
don't actually implement security. So, in fact, I would say most of the website being hacked are WordPress because they can be easily hacked. So it's because of the developers don't take any security measures on WordPress. They just build because they know that most of the clients are just only concerned about the beauty of the website and
yeah,
make the website to have the features that they want. So most of them don't care about it. And I'll also say this, in fact, why most of the reason why applications are being hacked are because of the the clients. They don't really care about security. They don't care about
mm,
security unless they fall in a situation where the maybe the application got hacked, or maybe the government wants security
yeah,
something. But if they don't fall in trouble, they don't really care about security. So are we first of all, I will start with most of the clients.
yeah.
They don't care about security. So that's where the foundation, or should I say the roots of the insecurity comes from.
Yeah, that you're quite right about that. Most people care more about the operations or the operational capability of the application. Is it working as I expect it to be? Is it serving the customers? It is. That's fine. They don't really care about anything. Just make it work for me. Just build this thing based on the ideas I have and give it to me. It's working. That's they don't really care much until vulnerabilities in those systems, in those softwares are being exploited. And then somehow in the end, it always has to, there's always going to be some monetary punishment where you either lose finances or the application ends up going down. And then you lose a lot of money because you refuse to implement security from the beginning. So I think clients, wherever, if you're developing an application yourself or if someone is developing for you need to make sure that either you that is developing it or the person that is doing it for you is putting security first before you hand your job or your development job to anybody. You need to make sure ask them. Hope you understand the concept of security and how to implement security in what you're developing because of the current negative impacts that we've seen on some of these applications. So yeah, I think that's something that people need to um, or clients or whoever is building an application needs to consider. I see another question from Pretty Pecky. She said, if an AI generated application is hacked because of a vulnerability the developer didn't understand, who is ultimately responsible? The developer who deployed it or the AI that generated it? I think this is an
To me,
interesting
it's the
and funny
AI.
question.
I mean, for me, it's the developer because there are a lot of
Definitely,
lazy developer out there.
definitely. I think it is developer
AI
because you
just
can't.
do what you tell it to do.
Exactly, exactly. It has to because the AI just does what you want it to do, but you're the one that is supposed to prompt it. You're the one that is supposed to do your checks, do your validations, which is why I said somehow, even when you want to develop some applications by yourself or some software by yourself, it's fine, but maybe somehow get a consultant, get a software engineer or a consultant that can also look into those codes. Even do a VAPT. I think this would, when we start going to recommendations, we'll talk about what you need to do. But yeah, definitely, there's no excuse if such vulnerabilities exist. It's because of the developer, not the AI. The AI is only doing what it can. You are the human being that's supposed to vet and do your best to make sure that vulnerabilities don't really exist in your system. So yeah, I think it's, nobody can blame AI. They can't say, "Hey, AI, I'm going to sack you. I'm going to do this to you. I'm not going to renew your subscription." And it's it's definitely a developer problem. So thank you for that question. I see. I am Machi. Welcome to the session. Welcome. So there's another question. I think we'll just take this last question, and then we'll go to recommendations. Okay, so you can, Vivian, please help us put that question on the screen. In your experience, in your experience, before that, in your experience, what is more dangerous? Poorly written human code or poorly reviewed AI generated code?
Hmm.
Hmm.
So, like I said before AI showed up, humans have already been deploying vulnerable code, as in most of the branches in history comes from human written code. So
Yeah.
for now, I'll say um, right now the most dangerous is AI. I'll
Hmm.
say the most dangerous is AI. If the developer did not review the code, you just push it directly. You don't even know if the secret keys are hard coded. So it's a big risk. At least if you build the software with traditional development, okay, you know where each of the codes are, where each things are supposed to be. But getting AI generated code without reviewing it, even if the system, um, even if the system, should I say, maybe the system in some way or the other misbehaves, or maybe it's not working the way it's supposed to work. And if you properly review the code or you use traditional development, you will easily know the where the fault is coming from. You will easily solve it. But if you just get the code from AI, copy and paste, or the AI build the system for you and you push it, if there is an error, maybe something happened, um, you won't be able to solve it very fast because you don't know the architect of the system or the design documentation. You don't know anything, so it will take you time to solve that problem. So for me, I think right now it's AI generated code without a proper review.
Yeah, I think. Well, I sort of have a different, should I say, different view on that. Maybe to some extent you are correct, because definitely it's poorly reviewed AI code could be dangerous. But I'm then looking at, I know by default AI always tries to follow things by the books, which means it's going to be doing things as it should. Like it's one plus one is always going to be two for it. But with humans, if you make a mistake, your one plus one could be equal to three. And then humans are most likely going to make mistakes in comparison to AI. So I think if AI is coding one thing and a human is coding the same thing, my own point of view, I feel like the human will most likely again be slower and then make more mistakes than AI will do. But yeah, I think both of them are really dangerous as long as security. it's not really, there's no validation in terms of security being done for either the human written code or the AI generated code. I think they are both dangerous. So I can't really say one is more dangerous. But yeah, it's they are both dangerous. That's just what I feel about that. Um, so yeah, thank you very much, Collins. Thank you, Pretty Pecky, for that question. So I think recommendations. So let's look at recommendations. So far, based on what we've talked about, um, personally, I think vibe coding is good. So that one we can both agree. Vibe coding is AI. Vibe coding is good. You can't eliminate not using. Okay, I see that there's a poll in the there's a poll. Please, if you're online, you can go ahead and try to respond to the poll, the poll question that has been asked. So my recommendation is, first of all, vibe coding is good. You can't do without using AI to some extent, except you want to be left in 2026, or 2026 is even quite recent. Except you want to be left in 2020, you need to sort of use AI. Vibe coding is fine, but again, you need to put these things we've talked about. So another thing you need to do is um, learn and try to understand secure software development lifecycle. I'm sure Collins would also agree to that. You need to understand the concepts, even if you're a traditional developer. I know right now in most organizations where they have these developers, either back end, front end, they already are doing secure SDLC. You can't. They have trainings on it. They have all of that. So you can't escape from that. So it's good to learn or try to understand it. If you're vibe coding, someone without experience, let's say you're not even in the IT space, but somehow you have this idea of this application that you want to put out in the market to either make you money or just something that solves your own personal problem. That's all well and good, but still try to find videos that talks about how to secure or how to develop securely. So with those little ideas you have, it will help you better create secure applications. Then another recommendation I would have would be to prompt better. Prompt better. Don't put random prompts in the AI and think it will. The AI is only going to give you what you prompted. So if your prompt is shallow, if your prompt is not good enough, then you get the same result. So you want to have security first. Like I told you, and like I mentioned earlier, when you're vibe coding, just let it know that you need it needs to implement secure OWASP, maybe top 10, and all this secure development lifecycle. It needs to implement all of that from the beginning. You need to, when you're prompting it on the ideas you want it to build, all of that has to be put into consideration, because what the AI does is that it remembers everything from the beginning, what you've told it to do, and it goes through that till the end. But if you start and then maybe when you've got into the middle, you now prompt it to implement security, it might it might not implement security from what it has done before. To just start from that point. So again, you need to prompt better, tell it to implement security into what it's doing. Check for, again, for me, like I said, I told it, can you check if there's any race conditions in this application that I'm building? If there's any authentication issues, if I have any exposed API keys, let me know. So all these things, because I know all of these things, I've just prompted all of that, and it's going to do those checks for you. So again, prompt better. Then another recommendation I would give would be to, excuse me, review and scan for vulnerability as usual. So I know this is something people don't do. People just put out applications, people just put out softwares without any form of review or vulnerability scan. So this is where you need VAPT. You want to do um, either manual or automated VAPT on those web applications or mobile applications. You can use your SAST tools, that's the static tools, or the dynamic application security testing tools, whatever it is, you can use either of them. That's if you're an organization, because it's only organizations that might be able to afford such tools. But if you're not an organization, maybe you're just an individual, then you want to contract or hire someone that will do those VAPT or those tests for you, those security testing for you before your app or your application or software goes live. So again, you can always reach out to Next Secure. They have professionals that can do that for you for any of your applications. They can help you to do those testings and before you go live. So you don't want to go live before doing testing. So again, that is one recommendation I would give you based on what we've discussed so far. So yeah, hire someone to do it for you to do those security checks. You don't need to do it by yourself if you don't have the experience to do it. And yeah, you one advice, which final recommendation and advice which I gave myself, I told myself that regardless of if I'm vibe coding and building applications by myself, I'm going to have a traditional software developer in the team to at least have some insight on the product that is being developed or that is being built, so that if at any point there's something tricky, the person will be able to identify that. So you want to get people with traditional software experience to manage your products, especially when you need to scale. If it's an application that might scale over time, where you might need to put more changes, put more functionality, do a lot of things, then definitely it's AI might not. It gets to some point where the AI would lose track of everything it has done so far. So you want someone from that. You can get a consultant to help you in that journey. So when you need, they can always review and at least they understand. They see your code. They understand all of that. So those are my recommendations before you go live. I know I've said many. So Collins, I don't know if there's any additional recommendations or based on what I've said, if there's one or two things you want to add regarding recommendations.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you? Okay. To end this discussion, I would say that neither approach is basically more secure because they both fall short in different places. Like traditional development falls short when human gets tired and or inconsistent or maybe review under pressure. Why AI assistant development falls short when the developer trusts the AI output without a proper review. So either ways, security is never about who or what writes the code. It's about whether anyone carefully check the code before deployment. So traditional development is strict. AI is brilliant and fast. So I would say it's good to combine both in software development.
Thank you very much for that, Collins. I see we have questions from Cyber Nation. So I think whatever questions you have, we'll answer this question. I think this will be the last question so that we can wrap up. But if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to NextSecure on any of their social media handles on Twitter, I think NextSecure Cyber, and Facebook, and any of those platforms on LinkedIn. Then you can ask those questions, and I'm sure you would get response to any questions relating to this topic. If you need services for VAPT, or you have an application that you want to go live in the market, and you need someone to test it to ensure that the application is safe, it's secure. Yeah, definitely they have professionals that can help you to do that. So yeah, please go ahead and reach out to NetSecure on their social media handle. And please, if you've not subscribed to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a like on this, and then you can also share the video to people that you know would find it very useful, and would really appreciate that. So to answer the final question before Vivian concludes for us, Cyber Nation said, will younger generation without traditional knowledge of software development be willing to go through the learning phase? And what effects will it impose on future software that will be built by this AI generation? um, uh, so I think again with I think this is similar to the question you asked earlier. Hopefully, younger generation would would be willing to go through that learning. They might not go through the traditional learning phase where you sit down and watch videos and all of that, but somehow, if there are regulations to development and the the uploading of all these um, applications, definitely people would not just create anything without it being vetted or without it being checked. So somehow I know there's just there are rules and regulations coming out already regarding the use of utilization of AI. It's just going to be stricter when it comes to what is being developed, how it's being how secure is it, and all of that. So I don't really see a challenge with that. But I don't know, Collins, do you have any anything to add on this question?
Okay, for the younger generation, for me, I think they are going to learn faster and better. But the only issue we have is that in this learning process, many applications are going to be vulnerable to attacks. So that's the issue we are going to have. But in terms of learning, the AI will help them learn better and faster.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I agree with that because most times it's even when you even as you're developing or coding, the AI always explains to you why it's doing what it's doing. So I think somehow even when you again it will explain everything clearly if you want it to do that. So when you write code, when it writes lines of code, you can tell it while you are implementing, just explain to me what you're doing. And again, so I'm sure definitely they're going to learn faster with AI. Thank you, Vivian. I think we are ready for you.
All right. And that brings us to the end of today's discussion. A big thank you to our speaker, Emmanuel Collins, for sharing your knowledge and perspective. And thank you to everyone who joined us and participated. One thing is clear: AI can make software development significantly faster, but speed should not come at the expense of the security. Whether code is written by a developer, generated by AI, or produced through a combination of both, the responsibility for building secure software remains with us. Thank you for joining us. We hope you found this discussion valuable. Until next time, stay curious, stay secure, and keep building responsibly. Thank you all, and have a wonderful afternoon. Bye.
Thank thank you, Vivian. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Um, Vivian, have you ended? You've not ended the live.